Hello and welcome to Photoshop Image and Color Basics. So I'm going to quickly go over this because I've gone over this in the InDesign video series. So let's just start with what you got. So you are either going to create from scratch or import an image from your camera, scanner, or from file. If you're creating from scratch, you just go ahead, launch Photoshop, File New, and choose your settings accordingly to your needs. If you're importing from a camera or a scanner or even another Photoshop file or an image file, you can launch Photoshop, File Open, navigate to wherever you saved those files, and open. Or if you're a Mac user, you can just simply drag and drop the photo file to the Photoshop icon in the dock. So images, they are known as bitmap or raster images. That's what they are. They're made of pixels. Each pixel is assigned a location and a color value. When you're working with bitmap images, you are working with individual pixels, even though you may have them selected as a group. Bitmaps are resolution dependent, meaning that the image relies on resolution. The higher the resolution, the greater number of pixels and the larger the file size. The lower the resolution, the lower amount of pixels, the smaller the file size. And note that it's always good to have a high resolution image to lower in size of pixels per inch than to enlarge a smaller low quality image, which will create jaggies, which are those pixelated blocks. So let's get started with what you want as your final results from Photoshop. This is your best choice here, Photoshop's native file format, .psd. And you want to save this as your master file. And with that in mind, you have to make sure that every version that you make, every edit that you make to an image, save such as image underscore version 1, image underscore version 2, or however you want to go about that. That way, you know each version, each edit you've made has its own file. And then you can choose the one you want to go back to, delete the ones that you don't want to, etc., etc. And with that, it does not change the image quality, the size of the image, or anything else that you do to the image. And note, always keep an unflattened Photoshop file as your master. Because if you flatten it with the layer palette, you can't get it back. So always keep an unflattened Photoshop file. Next, you may want to export to a JPEG. It's a popular file format with your camera or even your cell phone that takes pictures. It's very popular. But the thing is with JPEG is that you want to avoid resaving. Each time you open and resave over and over and over on one image without saving each edit as a separate version, you are adding more and more compression to the photo itself, and the image quality just goes downhill. So like the photo on the right is a picture I took from my camera. It only shoots in JPEG, so I didn't want to add more and more compression, but I did for this example. So the final image is what I wanted to achieve, so I did my editing all in one shot, one save. But for this purpose, I'm purposely saved multiple times until you see the compression, the colors. Let me zoom in here so you can see. Whoa, maybe not. Anyways, the final image, I was like, maybe I want black and white. So I saved a dozen times for each edit that I made and decided, there we go. That's what happens. So that's what happens if you resave over and over. Next, we have GIF. GIF is limited to 256 colors. It is a great file format for graphics, not photos, and it has support for transparent background. So if you have a graphic and you have no background, maybe your background is just white, and maybe instead of white, you want it transparent, you can save it and have a transparent background. So that's support for transparent backgrounds. Maybe you want to export to PNG. It is a lossless file, even though it is still compressed. The compression method that it uses does not result in any loss of image quality, meaning none of the pixel data that is in the file itself does not get compressed. But the downside of this is that PNG does not support CMYK. So if you were wanting to print this, you won't be able to, because the colors will look way, way off, because it does not support CMYK color. Next we have TIFF, which supports all of Photoshop's features, such as preservation of layers and layers adjustments. And it's widely accepted by printers, so it's the best option for print documents or even if you're printing photos. So TIFF is the way to go for your print needs. Next we have Encapsulated PostScript, or EPS. It is a print industry standard and it cannot be modified outside of Photoshop. PDF is the next file format that is definitely handy. It's a great choice for outside printing if, let's say, you have a document or even a photo that you want it to take to a copy shop and print. That's an idea, but mainly you wouldn't want a photo as a PDF, but a document for sure. So, and PDF supports all of Photoshop's features. And let's just briefly talk about color. So for a quick refresher, we have RGB color mode, which is an additive color mode. Produces all colors in the visible spectrum. When they are added together in different combinations, they are red, green, and blue. CMYK color mode is subtractive. Pigments used by desktop printers such as an inkjet or toner and commercial printers. And these colors are cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. K is key, also known as black. Grayscale color mode is 2 colors, which is black and white, used in various levels of intensity. Photoshop has color modes as well, such as RGB, CMYK, lab colors, grayscale, and many other color modes. But it also allows for special color outputs such as bitmap, duotone, index color, multi-channel, and a few others. But with that in mind, there's a perception of color. Everyone perceives color a little differently, and color also evokes emotion. So whatever you're trying to do, you want to convey a message sometimes with playing with the color. So like, let's go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Let me define a few things for you, just in case you don't know what hue, saturation, or lightness is in the dialog box that appears when you open this up in Photoshop. So a hue is a color or shade of a certain color. Saturation is the intensity of a hue, so how light or dark that color is. And the lightness is the amplitude of color, or its proximity to the white or black end of the tonal scale. A color with low value is close to black, while one with high values is close to white. I hope this video was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing. See you next time.